everybody, welcome to Sessions with Paola. If this is the first time seeing me, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I'm a clinical psychotherapist and a Latina sex therapist in the city of Miami, and I aim to provide sex education that's more positive in nature. I find local gems in my city that are all aiming to educate around sexuality in a more positive way. Guys, so today I want to talk about a question that I get asked all the time. How do we keep sex alive in a long-term relationship? And before I answer that question, I want you to think about, where do we get the messages about sex? Because often when we watch rom-coms, chick flicks, however you want to call them, what we see is that we're in love with the chase, we're in love with the catch, the date, the in love. One of my clients had mentioned to me that, she grew up watching The Notebook, and she's like, that's how I learned that romanticism was. And I had never watched it. So I made sure that I watched this movie, and oh my God, okay, super emotional, awesome movie. But this is the type of romanticism that we learn. A letter, 365 days. So it's really important to understand, what type of romanticism am I looking for? The other thing that I want you guys to think about is that as the relationships get, as we're in a relationship a little bit longer in time, right, things get a little bit more complicated. There's more responsibilities. And maybe if we saw movies that showed us other seasons of the relationship, maybe you would see a therapist involved where you're helping the couple come together. The other thing that I want to mention is that vulnerability, communication, and trust are extremely important. And I just found a new definition for vulnerability, which I love. It is where courage and fear meet. Beautiful. And I think in this day and age, we're wanting men to be more vulnerable, but men are having to redefine their identity in relationships, because in previous generations, they have grown up believing and thinking, I have to be strong, I have to be the provider, I have to keep my emotions inside, because that is the way that I protect my partner. So I want to say for everyone out there that we got to be flexible, and we got to relearn and undo some of the messages that we got previously. So one of the main characteristics for couples to have a long-term good sexual connection and connection overall is that they're good friends, guys. So I like to think of companions, but what we see in friends is, this is the work of Peggy Clanspless. She says, are you there for me? And R would be, are you accessible, responsive, and engaged? Can I access your attention? Because attention is the one thing that we're struggling so much with nowadays. Are you receptive and responsive when I share something with you? And are you engaged? Can I see that you're really connected? We tend to think that couples that have a lot of sex, that are super adventurous, that open up the relationship, are the ones that are having a good sexual connection. And guys, everything that I'm sharing with you is the combination of Emily Nagoski, Gottman, Peggy Clanspless, and Sue Johnson. And when we think about even opening the relationship, often what I see couples do is that they run out of options. You want too much sex. I don't know if I can give that to you, so go get sex somewhere else. And when we don't do it in an intentional and in an open way, what happens is that we continue to re-traumatize the relationship. Peggy Clanspless has this idea of falling in trust. I love that, right? Because in order for us to be able to have a long-term connection, we need to be able to trust our partner. Guys, the second characteristic would be prioritizing sex. What does it take for you to say no to everything that's going on in the outside world and say yes here? When I work with couples that haven't been sexual for years, 5, 6, 8 years, often one person says, I told you I wanted it. How could you not know? And then what I ask both of them is, at what point did you give up that sexual part of you? How do you move through your world on a daily basis, putting sex aside? So prioritizing sex is not only about prioritizing because it makes my partner happy, because if I don't have sex, maybe they're going to go elsewhere, but also prioritizing the sexual relationship with yourself. Being able to say no to all of the things that are trying to grab our attention every day. Guys, whenever we turn on the TV, there's some catastrophic event, and the repetitives of it, causes tense in the body. And so it's really hard to get out of our mind and into our body. Let me see if I'm forgetting something. The other thing that I want to say, I love this idea of permission flags. Give yourself permission to be in your body. Remember that this is a good feeling. Emily Nagoski often encourages people, get naked, get in bed, touch your partner, and remember that this is someone that you care about, that this is someone that you love, that your body next to mine feel really, really good. So guys, I will continue talking about some tips to make sure that you have a good sexual connection in a long-term relationship. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I believe in the power of community. So if you have anybody that you think would be interested in some of the information that I shared with you today, make sure that you share this with them. Gracias y bienvenidos.